Hi students, welcome back to computer class. So in our last class we studied about generations of computer. That is, I explained to you what do you mean by an generation with an example. What was that example? We compared our generation with our parent generation. Then we compared our parent generation with our grandparent generation. Okay. That is how changes came on from each generation, how technology changed, how things became easier. So, we studied about that example. Then what did we study? We studied that there are 5 generations inside a computer. That is first generation computer, second generation computer, third generation computers, fourth generation computers and fifth generation computers. That is, there are 5 generations inside a computer. Okay. Then what did we study? On what factors we can compare each generation. That is, we compared them on the basis of their technology, size, appearance, then their storage capacity, energy consumption. Okay. So this was what we studied in our last class. And today we will be studying about each generation of computer in detail. And first we will study about first generation computers. The first generation computers, they were used from the time period that is 1940 to 1950. First generation computers were used from 1940 to 1958. Okay. 1940 to 1958. Okay. Then what is the first point? They used vacuum tubes. So the technology that was used by first generation computers was vacuum tube. What do you mean by vacuum tube? See, in this picture you can see that it is a glass tube and it is been sealed. So a vacuum tube is a sealed glass tube and inside this there is vacuum. This vacuum will allow passage of current inside this tube. Okay. So a vacuum tube is a sealed glass tube that will allow free passage of current inside the tube. Okay. So first generation computers, they used vacuum tube as the technology. Then what is second point? Used punch cards for input and output. Nowadays what we use, which device we use for inputting and outputting? For inputting I will be using keyboard. For getting an output I will be using a printer or a monitor. But at earlier days, for inputting and outputting, they used punch cards. What do you mean by punch card? See, in this picture you can see that it is a paper card and you can see some holes inside that paper card. So at earlier days, if a programmer want to represent any data into the computer, they'll be taking this paper card and whatever they want to feed into the computer, they will represent in the form of holes. That is, that holes means data. Okay. And once we represent the data in the form of holes, we'll be taking this paper card and we'll be placing them in a card reader. This is how we'll be inputting a data into a computer. Okay. So for first generation computers, for inputting and outputting, we used punch cards. Okay. And what is the third point? They calculated data in milliseconds. That is, data was calculated in the form of milliseconds. Then what is the fourth point? They were large in size but had small storage capacity. That is, they were very, very large. They were large as a size of a room. A computer would fit inside a room. Even though they were large, their storage capacity was very small. Okay. So first generation computers, they were large in size, but their storage capacity was very small. Then what is the next point? They were slow in speed and consumed large amount of energy. Their speed was very slow, but they require large amount of energy. That is, at earlier days we cannot do complex calculation that we use nowadays. They could, that days computers could do only simple calculations, and their speed was also very slow, but they require large amount of energy. Okay. Then what are the examples of first generation computers? They are ENIAC and UNIVAC. Okay. So this is about first generation computer. That is, the time period was from 1940 to 1958, and the technology used was vacuum tube. For inputting and outputting they used punch cards. Data was calculated in the form of milliseconds, and they were very large in size, but their storage capacity was very small. And what is the next point? They were slow in speed, but they require large amount of energy. And examples are ENIAC and UNIVAC. So this is about first generation computer. We studied two examples of first generation computers, that were ENIAC and UNIVAC. Now we will be studying about what is ENIAC and what is UNIVAC. Okay. ENIAC, the full form of ENIAC is Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. What is the full form of ENIAC? Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. Okay. And it was the first electronic computer. ENIAC was the first electronic computer. So which was the first electronic computer? This ENIAC. Then it was developed by J. Eckert and J. Muchley. It was developed by J. Eckert and J. Muchley. Okay. And it was developed at the year 1946. It was developed at the year 1946. Okay. So ENIAC, the full form is Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. And it was the first electronic computer. It was developed at the year 1946. Okay. Then what is the full form of UNIVAC? It is Universal Automatic Computer. UNIVAC means Universal Automatic Computer. And it was developed by J. Eckert and J. Muchley. It was developed at the year 1951. UNIVAC was developed at the year 1946. UNIVAC was developed at the year 1951. Okay. UNIVAC means Universal Automatic Computer. Universal Automatic Computer. Okay. This will be asked in your test papers. Okay. To write the full form of ENIAC and UNIVAC. Who developed it? At which year they were developed? Which was the first electronic computer? Okay. So please note down these things in your notebook. Okay. Next we will be studying about second generation computers. Okay. Second generation computers, they were used from the time period 1959 to 1963. 1959 to 1963. First generation computers were used in which time period? It was used at 1940 to 1958. Second generation is used from 1959 to 1963. Okay. What is the first point? They used transistors instead of vacuum tube. First generation computers, they used vacuum tubes. Here we use transistors. What do you mean by transistor? Transistor is an electronic device in which if you are giving a low amount of current as input, they will produce a high amount of current as output. Okay, that is a transistor. So first generation computers, they used vacuum tube as a technology. In second generation, we use transistor as a technology. Okay. Second point is they were smaller in size than the first generation computers. First generation computers, they were very large. They were very large as they could fit inside a room. But second generation computers, they became smaller than first generation computers. What is the third point? They used punch cards and magnetic tapes for input and output. First generation we used punch cards. Here in second generation we use punch cards and magnetic tapes. What do you mean by magnetic tape? It is used for recording. We can record music, pictures and all data inside a computer. Okay. So second generation computers, they used punch cards and magnetic tapes for inputting and outputting. What is the next point? They were faster, cheaper and more efficient than the first generation computers. First generation computers, they were very slow in speed and they require large amount of energy. Here in second generation, their speed became little more faster and their energy consumption became little lesser. Okay. What is the last point? They were costly. That is, second generation computers are costly because a small amount of advancement came. That is, here we use transistors and we use magnetic tapes. So a small amount of advancement came. Okay, that is why it became costlier. What are the examples? Examples are IBM 1401, RCA 501 and Honeywell 200. What are the examples? IBM 1401, RCA 501 and Honeywell 200. Okay. So this is about second generation computers. That is, the technology that they use is transistors. For inputting and outputting, they use punch cards and magnetic tapes. And they became little more faster than first generation computers. Their size became little more smaller than first generation computers. And examples are IBM 1401, RCA 501 and Honeywell 200. Okay. So with this, I am ending my section today. Please revise what I have taught you today and as well as what I have taught you last day also. Okay. Thank you.